Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, the Lemon himself, Zeke Lamone, and this is my review for Friday Night SmackDown. But before we get into that, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Shall I leave a like, comment below, and let me know your thoughts on Friday Night SmackDown. And, of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into the review, shall we? So, it almost seems unfair to review this episode of SmackDown because overall my main criticism of it is that it's rushed. This episode in particular was very, very rushed. Not just because, the build of SummerSlam is just going really, really at fast pace. And I do have some qualms within that. We will get into that a little bit. But, we had the death of Hulk Hogan, or Terry Bollea. I can never say his last name properly. And, of course, the show's going to open up with a 10-bell salute for him. And, we have this video package for him as well. It takes up, I want to say the first 10 minutes of SmackDown. And then after that, of course, all the segments afterwards are going to be condensed a little bit throughout every match. Felt like it went about 2 times speed on this. Some matches could have been a lot shorter. Again, we'll get more into that. Some of the promos just went by super, super quickly to me. And again, I'm not going to fault WWE for that because they absolutely should have done this. Look, I'll be completely honest, hearing the death of Hulk Hogan, it was almost feeling nothing is not the right word, but maybe numb would be the better way to say it, because my feelings on it were very, very complicated. Now, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I was a huge Hulk Hogan fan. No, I wasn't even born during, prime Hulkamania. I didn't get into WWE and wrestling until 2007, long past his time. Well, maybe not. When was his last match? 2005? But either way, Hogan's time as a wrestler was very much done. My first time actually seeing him in a WWE ring live, I want to say, was on the road to WrestleMania 30, and I was super excited because I always heard about Hogan, and I would watch highlights on YouTube. Absolutely, saying your prayers, eating your vitamins, was all about it. I was like, oh, this is like one of the coolest guys ever as a child. But, the one who captivated me the most during the golden era, because I guess since he came around more was Roddy Piper. So even though I did think Hogan was cool, I was more of a Roddy Piper guy. And then, the things that come out about, Terry Bollea, the real person, it kind of tampers some of those feelings that you have for the character. And look, again, I think WWE did the right thing. You're going to do a 10-bell salute, and I am glad that the crowd actually stayed quiet for it. And the video was also pretty good, the thank you Hogan chants, because the character of Hulk Hogan is very, very important to WWE. Would wrestling and WWE as a whole really be where it is today without Hulk Hogan and, Vince McMahon? Maybe, maybe not. There is definitely a debate to be had that who really knows, unless you can travel to different multiverses, right? And so for that, yes, you have to appreciate him. You cannot deny that whatsoever. However, I'm not going to discredit people who are mourning in a different way, because I do think this whole entire what's going on online and just how people are reacting to is all different types of mourning. There is anger within that because of the person that he was. You built up his legacy, and then, you said some things and basically refused to apologize for it and think you did nothing wrong for it. Yeah, it tarnishes that, and therefore it leaves a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth. Now, me personally, I'm not someone who's going to, bash on that, because someone did die. And, I have a very small platform here. But, I'm thinking about his family. I'm thinking about his friends, the people closest to him. And, they are going through a lot more than what I am going through. So when I heard the news, yeah, sure. Overall, I mean, it definitely had an effect because, I appreciate the Hogan character a lot. And, and what he did for this thing that I love, that I am trying to, hopefully make something out of, where I can just talk about it and, to have, meet people who also enjoy it quite a bit. WrestleMania is something I look forward to more than my birthday. Hulk Hogan definitely had a part in that because he helped build it to what it is today. But, as the person that he is, Terry Bollea, yeah, it kind of tampers it a little bit. So, again, overall right thing to do. And what Cody said, I think he summed it up perfectly. You know, complicated individual, but you cannot discredit what he did to the industry. And maybe I should have just left it at that. And, you know, I'm kind of just rambling on at this point of it. But, you know, rest in peace. We move on from it now. And yeah, let's actually get into the wrestling portion of it. So like I said, you know, it was very, very rushed on this episode of SmackDown post the Hogan tribute. And then I also think maybe the Jelly Roll, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton segment went a little long, which again also condensed everything down even more than what it was. Look, I will keep saying it. Would I rather not have this program? Would I rather it just be Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton going at it at SummerSlam? Yes, absolutely. And then having Logan Paul facing whoever, maybe LA Knight again, and then Jelly Roll can do a performance. That's honestly what I would prefer if we were to have all four involved. But we're not in that. We're in this tag feud that's being happened, and I think Jelly Roll is doing a good job with what, you know, is given. I have enjoyed the program so far. I will say out of all of the segments that we've had on it, this was probably the least engaging one. But you know, it is what it is. I like Jelly Roll's theme song quite a bit. I don't remember what the song name, but when I heard that, it got a pop out of me. He did a good big boss man slam as well. I'm excited. I'm not excited. But I am looking forward to the tag team match. I think they are going to deliver. But again, you know, I'll just keep harping to what I've been saying. Would I rather this tag match not be happening and then having a one-on-one match and, you know, them like doing their own little different things on SummerSlam? Absolutely. Absolutely. But what they're doing is not bad. And just because I don't really care for it, I can honestly say, hey, this is interesting, and it is giving me more intrigue to see the match on Saturday. First of all, I mean, the cards are ridiculous. We'll go more into it when we do the prediction video. But, I mean, poor Saturday. I mean, Sunday is just super overpowered. But anyway, we move on now. The Charlotte, Alexa, Roxanne, and Raquel stuff, that was also a lot of fun, too. I gotta say, what Bliss has done with her matches is really, really interesting. Yes, I'm calling her out in particular because she's always so fresh with how she does the finishes. And I'm only going to say her last name because if I say the first name, then mine is going to activate. If you know, you know. But, you know, the Queen of the Ring, the triple threat match, very creative finish, right? The match with Asuka and Queen of the Ring, very, very creative. The stuff we did heading into Evolution, very, very creative finishes. I can go on and on and on. And here, again, we had a very creative finish. And the Charlotte match that we had last week was a creative finish. You know, the choose to go, hey, I can have the win here. We are allies of convenience. You know, that's the whole point. They are allies of convenience. So do they really care for each other? No, they just want to win gold. But when she sees Charlotte having a tough time, it's getting beat up by Raquel, and she chooses to save her and busted her nose in the process of it, to me, and that is the catalyst for how she loses to Roxanne with her new horrible theme music. Well, not horrible, but I don't know why they changed her song because I really liked her theme music. And that's how Roxanne wins. Again, I think that's creative because, you know, as we saw on this episode of SmackDown, it never stops with the interferences. And, you know, then they have the backstage segment going, hey, you know, where Charlotte is like struggling to say that she is a friend. And, you know, it was leaked, I guess, or I read the report on you know, Twitter, and, you know, you always take those stories with a grain of salt no matter how reliable the source is. It's that the original plan was for it to be Charlotte versus Bliss at SummerSlam. And it was Charlotte who said, hey, you know, I'm actually having a lot of fun with this. The crowd is really into it. Let's prolong it. And I think we should. I think they should win at SummerSlam. And I think they should hold the titles up till maybe the Royal Rumble. And then we do the one-on-one match at WrestleMania. I'm having a great time with this program. And I just want it to be prolonged as long as possible. And I think there's really, really something here with these two ladies. Again, Bliss just has these creative ideas. She really knows how to make it stand out. I feel like she really is knowing how she thinks like we think, right, as the fans, saying, hey, we're having a lot of these interferences. How can we make ours stand out from the rest? Okay, well, I'll just do this, or I'll do that. And Charlotte has really found her footing within this. I love how the crowd is starting to really embrace her again. I know that is not just great for Charlotte, but, for Ashley Fleer, the person, and I'm really happy for her on that level. And then once we get to where whoever turns, I don't know who does. They can both play heel very well. And it's just going to be really interesting to see. So really liking everything that we did there. Really intrigued by that match on Saturday. Again, going to be pulling for Charlotte and Bliss on that. But if the Judgment Day win, then, it's fine too. I think Raquel and Roxanne have really found their footing as a tag team. And it's going to be really interesting when Liv Morgan comes back to see how all of that intertwines within each other. The Cody Rhodes promo, again, felt rushed. But, he had to address the Hulk Hogan stuff. Well, not necessarily had to, but I feel like, yeah, he had to and to a degree. And, let's just give more credit to Cody Rhodes, right? I mean, he has just a lot of... I saw a post where he had to, manually carry a feud for these big shows. 39, Roman. Roman was still somewhat full-time during that time, but, he did have to do some promos by himself, and there was a lot of exchange with him and Paul Heyman. Then, the Brock Lesnar stuff. Brock Lesnar doesn't show up that often. Then we had the... Roman 40 stuff where he showed up even less. Thankfully, we have The Rock for that. Then, 41, we had John Cena, and now SummerSlam, we have John Cena again. So, how much more can you say about when you're talking just to yourself and Cena isn't there? Basically, he just said he wants to face the good guy, John Cena. And I think that is the route that we go. I don't think he fully goes face after SummerSlam. I do think the face gets beat into him on Sunday, and then we have an epilogue on the heel run at Clash in Paris where he does face AJ Styles. I do think AJ Styles is going to be Dominic Mysterio, just because the one title that Cena has yet to hold in WWE is the Intercontinental title, and I feel like that heel persona will still want gold if he can't get the WWE title. Then, all right, I already broke the record. Why do I need that anymore? Let me go after the title that I have yet to ever win or ever hold, and then he faces one of his last rivals, and then again, like an epilogue for the heel run for AJ Styles. We'll see. Maybe that's wishful booking, but we'll see there. But yeah, the promo was fine. Overall, just with the circumstances that he is in. The Julia stuff really pisses me off. I'm just gonna be completely transparent on this. First of all, both of the singles women's titles are really pissing me off quite a bit. But first, we'll get to Julia. I like the addition of Kiana James being with her, being like her legal support, I believe is what they said with Zelina. I really did enjoy that. I think Julia English has gotten a lot better. I don't think she really does need, a mouthpiece, if you will. I do like the idea of her having a muscle who is very smart. I do like that. But the way that Kiana came in, it just felt so unceremonious. There was no build to it whatsoever. I know we had the backstage segment last week where, you see them in the background of the Charlotte and Alexa segment, but, just comes in, I'm the legal support. Zelina saying, I want my rematch for the title, and because no one wants to step up to you. It hasn't been featured. It hasn't been featured at all. And, this goes with, the tag division as well. I don't understand why WWE just can't be consistent on both shows, because you go to Raw, and the women's IC title, the mid-card scene, is so healthy and good, right? Must see on SummerSlam, no DQ match on it. And then the U.S. title is just whatever. It's gonna be defended on SmackDown at least. Hopefully the World Tag titles get defended on Raw this Monday, because then it'll be the first time ever for the whole entire week all 11 championships will be defended, which I do think there is a big opportunity there. But Zelina hasn't been trying to go for that title for over a month. She lost it, and then there was no talk for it. Julia had these video packages, but wasn't shown at all, besides being in the background of a backstage segment. And then now here we are, we're going to do this match. I just don't get it. I just don't. I don't like it. And then everything we did with Tiffany and Jade, I like the setup to it, Chelsea going in, talking some smack, and Jade popping up behind her and doing the whole, she's right behind me, isn't she? And then Jade beating her up, grabbing the referee, throwing in, and then impromptu match gets started. Love that. It should have just been Jade at 1, 2, 3, though. I don't think we need to go, 5 or 10 minutes? Maybe if this was still the 3-hour SmackDown era, sure. But, you take some time away from that match, and maybe you do give it to Cody Rhodes, or maybe you do give it to Julia, to give a little bit more than what we gave her on this and what we've given her whole entire U.S. Title run. But, it was what it was. But again, some more interference gets involved within this. The Secret Herbers did not need to be out there. Because, Chelsea dismissed them, right? She dismissed them. She said, hey, go get me some coffee while I do this talk. Jade could have gone there, clean house, 1, 2, 3. And I don't think Tiffany Stratton needed to go out and save her. We could have waited until... Again, Jade at 1, 2, 3 gets jumped by the Secret Herbers because the Secret Herbers is running out to save her. She's already run, and then all 3 of them jump, don't save, and then, Tiffany's going, well, why didn't you help Jade? I don't need to help her. Because, Tiffany is, if we're going to compare this like superheroes, she's like a Punisher, gets cheered, but does bad things, right? And Tiffany's like, I don't need to save her. She needs to bring her A game. She wants to do all these side quests and jump Chelsea Green when she knows that she has friends. Yeah, no, I don't feel sorry for her. I'm not going to make the save for that. That's dumb. And then, the following week, we flip it. We could have done a lot of different things when it came to this feud. It's lacking serious heat. And this whole 2 good guys respect each other. Their names are big enough to be on SummerSlam. The program and the story is not big enough to be on SummerSlam. So we will need to really light some fire onto this. I don't know if it needs to be a promo segment. I don't know if we need to do a brawl like we did with Charlotte and Tiffany on their road to WrestleMania to really give this some serious heat. But it's lacking something, and everything that we did on this show has not done it justice, and then the video package that we did the following week has not done it justice either. It's one of the matches I'm least looking forward to, and I love both of these ladies. I love Tiffany Stratton, and I love Jade Cargill. I should be like, ooh, I cannot wait for this match on Saturday, but I just don't have that right now, because again, this story just lacks serious heat. The match is still going to be good. As for who's going to win, my gut tells me Jade, but my brain tells me Tiffany. So we will see how it goes. But yeah, we need to get some heat going on to this. I think we could have done this because Jade also, to a degree, is, like a Batman, if you will. Super strong, just this big bulldozing force, and doesn't really see the need to help many people and make the save. And again, it just really felt miscast during this segment this week. Again, I feel like we could have had a lot of fun with these 2 types of characters, but we just haven't capitalized on it. But granted, part of this is because only SummerSlam is like next week, and we don't have a lot of time to really dig into it. As for the tag title situation, another DQ, did not like that, but then we'll get in a TLC match with 6 teams, 12 bodies that could get up to 21 if we add the ladies within it. Again, Andrade and Phoenix were having a lot of fun. It was a it was a good match, but the DQ stuff, especially the way that it ended with the DQ. How many times has the referee gotten pulled out of the ring and we have let the match continue on? Tons of times. But this time it's a DQ. Ridiculous. Absolutely horrible. And then, all the tag teams come out. There was a brawl, and Nick Aldis saying, that's it. I'm over it. Y'all want to keep fighting? Y'all want to kill yourselves? All 6 of you teams, we're going to get tables, ladders, and chairs, and we're going to do it at SummerSlam. And, since Saturday already has 6 matches and Sunday had 5, you would assume the TLC match is going to be on Sunday. That means all gimmick matches are on Sunday. All the big title matches are on Sunday, too. I mean, again, Sunday is just really, really overpowered. But, man, great segment to end on. I just hate how we went to go get there. But yeah, 12 bodies. Again, if you add in, because you got to assume Uncle Howdy and Eric Rowan are going to get involved. That's 18. And then if you get Candice LeRae, Nikki Cross, and B-Fab along as well, that's 21 bodies that we could see be throwing through each other with tables, ladders, and chairs for what is certainly going to be a 5-star banger, but it could also be a big cluster F. We will see when we get to Sunday, but man, I am really looking forward to it. I'm glad the tag division for this one is getting a lot of benefit for it too. But again, this goes back to what I'm saying about the women's too. I don't understand why we can't have the focus all around. I don't know why the SmackDown tag division is so healthy and bright, and then we get to the Raw tag division, which is like wah wah. Now, granted, there is the effort being put into the Raw tag division. We just got a long way to go. Some of those teams from Friday nights do need to go to Monday nights to maybe balance it out, just to give it the shot of adrenaline that it needs. But yeah, overall, it was a fine episode of SmackDown due to all the circumstances that it in. Again, if you feel some type of way with Hulk Hogan, I am not going to tell you how you should and should not react to it. Again, I do think it's all different parts of grieving. I think we're all grieving in our own way. Some people bash on him and make jokes and memes and just really, crap on him on every chance they can get, celebrating the death. I just think that's a form of anger when it comes to empathy. There are people like me who are kind of numb to it because you can appreciate the character, but the person that he was absolutely bad. And then there's some people that, hey man, this guy made my childhood. It's hard for me to not feel sad about it. Absolutely right to feel in any way that you do. But due to that death, which sped this SmackDown up even more than what it was already going to be sped up quite a bit, it does kind of fall into the middle within it. But let me know your thoughts on this episode of SmackDown. Comment below and let me know. Leave a like if you made it this far within the review. I do greatly appreciate it. And again, hit that subscribe button as it helps me go into my YouTube career. Sorry for going a little bit long on this one, but a lot of thoughts on this one and a lot of things pointed out. And like I said, I'm grieving in my own ways too. So yeah, just don't forget to squeeze the days, guys. Make life every moment that you can of it, and when you squeeze the day, you will be very fulfilled within your life. I really butchered that ending this time, but hey, until next time, guys, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.